It was ever present as the black fog, constant as the quiet click of clockwork, and dangerous as the glint in your enemy's eyes. Fear. Fear lined the streets. Fear filled the air between one man and another. Fear kept the children up at night, wondering what horrors the madmen would invent next. Nerlites did not shake hands. They tipped their hats, not for fear of germs, but so they could have the other hand on their weapon. No one could say with any certainty when the seeds of distress had been sown. Was it after the clockwork machines attacked the capital, or when the fog rolled in from the factories? Was it the time disease swept over the kingdom and no one could explain the strange peculiarities of how it picked its victims? Any number of tragedies could have triggered the downward spiral of the Mineralite society, and they were irrevocably different because of it. It would not be easy to forge an alliance across the chasm, which the Mineralites created to insulate themselves from danger. But Jaden would not let a black market ring selling weapons to the enemy ruin his kingdom's slim chance of winning the war. He hoped the peace that would come after the alliance, and the resolution of the war, would give his people a chance to heal their wounds. The crisp air served as a relief from the last sweltering summer heat wave. He suppressed a chuckle as the elementi around him drew their cloaks tighter, cursing the change of seasons. He was a Mineralite, and the cold was a welcome friend. After spending his days wearing a light shirt and trousers, Jaden embraced the opportunity to don his vest, which made concealing his weapons and various personal effects much easier. A flash of light on the roof across the street caught his eye. His Scarlet Society operatives were in place. The bag full of cash made his shoulder ache, and he couldn't wait for this mission to be over. He couldn't risk scaring off the smugglers by sending in one of his operatives with a fake identity. Few, if any, of the nobles sympathetic to the Scarlet Society would be willing to put their reputation on the line by buying black market weapons. So tonight, he would play the part of a weapons buyer. Belladonna stood at the entrance of the blacksmith's inn. She wore a sleeveless blue tunic that showed her ebony skin. She put out her smoking reed when she saw him approached. "I'm Carmen. The big guy was waiting for us in the back. They'll test your resolve before they talk with business. The password is Fireshot." Subtle. Jaden stepped inside and scanned the crowd. Rough-looking men stared back. Whether it was the effect of the rare red moon, or the depressing fact that they were losing after a century of war, everyone was feeling a little worse for wear. Dark eye bags and a little dirt underneath the nails were almost as in fashion as the hats they wore. The barkeeper eyed them. A baller Republic elementy woman and a tan Mineralite. We are a curious duo. Jaden took a seat. "Nice bar. Real bloodwood is scarce. Must have cost you a fortune." Barkeeper frowned. "You gonna order something?" "I'm here to try the Fireshot." "Even you don't have the currency for that kind of top-shelf drink." The barkeeper sneered at him. "Besides, we wouldn't want your dirty, sinking hands to contaminate it." Jaden wished people would invent novel ways to insult him instead of falling back on trite remarks. Belladonna rose to her feet. "How dare you insult my client?" Before things could get ugly, an old man grabbed Belladonna's shoulder. "Please forgive Alex. He gets protective of the liquor. Let's get that drink for you, my lord." The old man had a limp. He was elementy, but Jaden couldn't place his Republic of origin. He led them down a winding hallway until they found a door and knocked in a specific rhythm. A slot opened to show a tough pair of eyes. The old man spoke. "Lord Jaden, future Lord Ambassador, is here to try the Fireshot." The clockwork door clicked and groaned as it opened. An elementy man opening a Mineralite door. Criminals succeed where politicians fail. The crate stood in the corner, filled with weapons, no doubt. The door locked behind them, and a jolt of not quite fear shot down Jaden's spine. I think I need to get out more often." The leader motioned for Jaden to take a seat at his makeshift desk. He was a Mineralite, genetically altered to have straight black hair, pale skin, and blue eyes. The old man poured a drink that was dark black into 2 waiting glasses. Jaden dipped a poison test stick into the drink. One can't be too careful." The man laughed, an unforgiving hoarse laugh that rattled his bones. "Zenkin or not, you are a Mineralite." The poison tester came back clear. The leader raised his cup. Jaden took a sip of the intimidating glass. As the drink rolled over his palate, he could pick up the notes of the bitter juice of the tocopod, hints of the smoky macara and sweet dari. He made a contemplative noise, then the heat hit him like a wave. "Disseco peppers." Leader set down his now empty glass. "You haven't tasted anything until you've tried something with Disseco peppers in it. They wake up your soul." Jaden could not speak through the fumes making their way through his nostrils. This must be the initiation Belle alluded to. He downed the glass, blinking back tears. His mouth burned, his ears burned, and the warp traveled from his head to his toes. I'm surprised you could finish the drink. The man chuckled again and took a sheet of paper from his jacket. You're buying a stock of weapons that will give you an edge that you need to keep yourself and your assets safe when the Animalians attack. What type of weapons are we talking about? Jaden picked up the document. I don't buy clockwork weapons, as they tend to turn on their owner. The man just grunted in annoyance. You get what you pay for. We don't discuss details. Carmen should have already given you a good idea of what we're selling here. Jaden set the bag of cash on the table and waited while the leader counted the currency. The leader smiled, and Jaden returned his smile until he pulled a gun. That's precisely how much they said you would pay me to kill you. The leader pulled the trigger. With a blink of an eye, Jaden activated his power stone, and a green crystalline exoskeleton poured forth from the pendant he wore around his neck. The bullet glanced off his head, and the floorboards groaned as they adjusted to Jaden's extra weight. The gunshot alerted the members of the Scarlet Society disguised as civilians in the bar. Jaden could hear the resulting brawl through the clockwork door. Black Heart! We've been tricked. He's too fast for us, Sankin. The leader gasped at the bullet embedded in the wall, giving Jaden the opportunity to tackle him. You know, I'm flattered, but have you considered that maybe you're just too slow for an assassin? Jaden pinned him against the wall. Belladonna stomped on the doorman's foot with her pointed shoe and reached for the locked door. She used her nails to inflict as much damage as possible. She couldn't risk using her fire element with the wooden crates of unknown weapons nearby. The cuts Belladonna inflicted on the doorman turned an ugly color, speaking of his coming demise. A little help here? The old man threw a series of daggers toward Belladonna. Belladonna twisted and dodged until the old man ran out of weapons. She pulled out a pin out of her hair and cut a slit in her leather belt. A dark oozing liquid spilled forth, coating the sharp pin. A single scratch is all she inflicted as they fought. That's all you got? Belladonna rose an eyebrow. I didn't want you to suffer too much. The man swayed and stumbled as the poison took hold, and he crumpled onto the floor. Waking from its dormant state, the red pendant around the leader's neck glowed. The energy from the stone seeped into the man's veins and traced a delicate pattern of geometric red lines over his body. Yeah, of course he has the only stone that can beat my durability stone. The leader grabbed him by the back of the neck and tossed him against the far wall. Jaden reeled from the impact, lying on his back. The door creaked open, and Belladonna whistled. Jaden blocked the leader's sharp kicks with crossed forearms, but his exoskeleton could only hold up for so long. Cracks were already beginning to form. The leader fell with a heavy thump. A muscular man wearing a red leather mask stood behind him, holding a rather mean-looking stick. Francis's unmistakable smirk gave him away. He offered a hand to Jaden. Sir. Jaden accepted the offer. You couldn't get here sooner? Thank you for saving my life, Francis. Oh, you're welcome, Jaden. Francis fought back to back with Jaden as the next wave of assassins came at them. I have an agility stone, not a speed stone. We underestimated the men behind this. They were planning on killing me from the beginning. Jaden wiped the blood from his nose. No, there's no way they could have seen through our front. Francis frowned, his agility stone giving him an edge as he faced off against a handful of men. Then, we must have a spy in our midst, Jaden said, knocking out the last man. Francis deactivated his stone. Tobias walked through the door and over a body. The rest of the building is secure. Let's see if there's anything in these crates. I'm hoping we'll have something to show for this mess. Jaden motioned for his men to open the crates. The first Scarlet reeled back. It's a bomb. A bomb? Jaden asked in alarm. Francis did a double take. Did he just say a bomb? They tricked us. It's active. It's ticking. The Scarlet ran for the door. We need to get out of here. Tobias pushed through the men to the busted door. We don't have time to make it out front. Francis looked for an escape route, and he pointed at a wall. There. Jaden. Oh, this is going to hurt. He ran into the wall, using his crystalline exoskeleton to protect him. As everyone poured out of the pub, it exploded behind them, throwing wood and stone shrapnel into the air. Most of them were lucky to find shelters. The others didn't make it. The red and blue moon shone down on the eerie remains of the Blacksmith Inn as they pulled the corpses of 10 good men out of the ash and smoke. The weight of their deaths with a millstone around Jaden's neck. Francis grimaced. This was an attempted assassination from beginning to end. Tobias started. What do you mean? The bomb killed the man responsible for the smuggling ring. No. Those were just assassins sent to lure us away from the real gang. Francis rubbed his forehead. We must have a spy in our midst. The Scarlet Society shared a moment of silence while they laid the bodies of their dead comrades to rest. Their souls left their bodies as life spirits, and they had lived good lives. Any bad deeds they had committed before joining the Scarlet Society had been offset by the lives they had saved and the justice they had rendered. The assassins did not fare so well in the eyes of the Creator, as shadows left prone bodies. For their choices, they would never stay between life and the afterlife, banished to the lifeless wastelands beyond the Outlands. Those Scarlets paid for our lives with theirs. Jaden spat. We catch these bastards. They will taste the fire of our wrath. No stone will remain unturned. This is no longer a matter of stopping weapons from falling into the wrong hands. They have spilled the blood of good men. Their souls will rest easy, and their deaths will not be in vain. Belladonna checked her time stone. Jaden, it's 23 minutes until the king's speech. You need to get to the festival, or the king will have your head. Jaden looked down at his tattered and dirty suit. After a quick stop at the ambassadorial halls? Francis waved off his concern. No need. Casper already has a carriage with a change of clothes waiting in the stable. A man wearing a muted red uniform stepped down the side of a building. There's a crowd forming. We should scatter before the enforcers ask questions. Don't take the main road. The Scarlet Society went their separate ways. Using the alleyways cost him precious time, but it allowed him to avoid the enforcers. As promised, he found a change of clothes inside his carriage. Changing turned out to be a bit more difficult than anticipated, with the driver thundering down the road. The ride jostled the bruises on his body and his ego. When did I get so soft that a few bruises bothered me? I used to think a day without a few scrapes was a day wasted. Only I could go back to the pleasant time when I played in the ruins of the ancient cities and didn't have to worry about the fate of the kingdom. But his uncle had ruined everything when he died and made his father the Lord Ambassador, the most powerful man in Mineral, second only to the king. So, I have to give credit to Mylo, who came up with the part where the Scarlets discover the bomb. This chapter was such a blast to write and survived so many different drafts. I would love to hear who your favorite character was and if you have any guesses on who the spy might be. Stay tuned for Chapter 3. I hope to be reading a new chapter every Sunday, maybe every other week. I'm really looking forward to having you guys join me on this adventure in the world of Valamir.